Hi everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great day. So this is a clip from a previously recorded video. This is a much shorter clip of it. But as always, not financial advice, for entertainment only. Do your own research. And I'm invested in closing companies. And if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. And let's get into the clip. So like I said, the President Biden announced, or his cabinet announced, that they're going to be possibly imposing a 30% energy tax on basically Bitcoin miners, anywhere that they are within the United States. And I wanted to see what kind of an impact that would have on them. So the way I set this up is basically going with the cost per kilowatt hour in cents. So this is the header here up top. So we're going all the way from basically 2.5 cents all the way up to 7 cents. The majority of the miners are somewhere in between like 3.5 and 5.5 cents, I believe. There might be some that are a little bit higher if they're hosting with other companies, because they're definitely not going to get the regular rate that the hosting company gets. Hosting company is probably going to want to make a little bit on it as well, so they're going to charge you a little bit more for that. So that's why I put it in between 2.5 and 7 cents. I think a couple might be 2.5 cents or close to that, or around 3 cents, based on being, what do they call it? Before the grid, before, was it prior to the meter or something like that they call it? I can't remember what they call it, but it's before the meter, I think, and they're hooked up to the nuclear power stations. They're around 2.5, 3 cents on that, but that's only for a limited time, I think, for a couple of years. Nonetheless, they do have that, so that's why I included that in here as well. Okay, so the first line here that we have is the cents per kilowatt hour, which is 2.5 cents to 7 cents. After the 30% increase, here's what we end up getting. So then it goes up to basically from 2.5 cents to 3.3 cents per kilowatt hour if you're at 2.5 cents right now. And then it goes all the way up to, at 7 cents, it goes up to 9.1 cents. So that's a huge increase for those that are paying already a higher fee for electricity as it is, right? So that increase is written down here. So at 2.5, you're going up 0.008 cents. And at 7 cents, you're going up 0.021 cents. Basically 2.1 cents, I guess is the way to put it on that one. Okay, so that's definitely a huge increase there for them. So they're going to be paying a heck of a lot more in fees, taxes, basically, because of that. So I took into account for the 100 terahash miners cost per day, what it costs right now. At 2.5 cents, it costs about $1.82 to operate that miner for the day. And that's just a single miner, just so you guys know. And then it goes all the way up to $5.08 at 7 cents currently. After the 30% increase goes into effect, now you're paying $2.37 at the very lowest end at 2.5 cents. Now it would be 3.3 cents. And then at the very high end at 9.1 cents, you're paying $6.60. Right, so that's a huge difference there comparing the bottom end to the high end. You're basically on the lower end paying 55 cents more per day per miner, as opposed to the higher end here, you're paying $1.52 more, right? Almost 3 times what somebody else is on the bottom end paying. Now, if we added this all up and said 1 exahash, what would that actually entail? So on that one, the added cost, somebody that's at 1 exahash right now would be about $5,460 per day on average if this tax goes through at 2.5 cents or 0.33 cents. If somebody is at the 9.1 cents, well, now you're at $15,000 in 240 days, or $240 per day on 1 exahash. In 30 days worth, you're paying $163,000 more on the 3.3 cents here on the low end, and on the high end, you're paying $457,000. That's a lot of change, and that's going to add up relatively quickly, especially when you add in extra exahash, right? So if you have 3, 4, 5, 10, 12, you're going up to 18, all the way up to, say, 22, like Marathon's going to get to, that's going to add up relatively quickly, depending on where you are within the spectrum of cents per kilowatt hour. Okay, so the next line is basically daily profit. So the profit is right now at the current levels at $5.13 at 2.5 cents, and that goes up to, or goes down to $1.87 at 7 cents. Right, that only makes sense because you're paying more in electricity costs. But then after the 30% increase, at the 2.5 cents, well, now you're at 3.3 cents. You're at $4.58 in profit. So a pretty big decrease there. You're losing basically 55 cents on that one. And then at the high end, you're going to $1.87. And at the very end here at 9.1 cents, you're basically just almost breaking even here at 35 cents profit. I mean, that's measly, that's nothing. And that's a decrease in profit of $1.52. So that's almost to the point where the miners are not profitable at that price or at that point. And if the network hash rate increases, they're more than likely not to be profitable. So those possibly might get shut down. Okay, so there's that one. And then let's take a look at it here. What else do we have here? So that's the difference. 1 exahash daily profit on 1 exahash. You're looking at $551,000 currently at the 3.3 cents. And then at the 9.1 cents at the high end, you're looking at about $18,700. Big difference between the two there. Let's see here. 30-day profit is on the 3.3 cents is 1.539 million. And then looking at the 9.1 cent mark, you're looking at 561,000, basically almost a third of what somebody else is making over here. Then going to, let me see, 1 exahash per day profit plus 30%. Okay, so this is before, this is after the 30% increase. You're now making only 45,840 per day compared to the 51,300. And on the high end, you're making only, let's see if I have this right. Is that right? Let me see here. Make sure I'm in the right line here. 3,000, yeah, why would it be that much? Why is that one 51,000 daily profit going down to 45? And then this one goes down to 18 and we're only at, that doesn't make sense. Oh, daily profit. I'm looking at, well, it's daily profit at 1 exahash. Did I do something wrong here? Let me see, which one do I have here? No, that's right. It's going down. And then we're multiplying that times basically 10,000 of those. And yeah, what am I getting for this one? Oh, that was before. Okay. So that was before the increase. This is after the increase. Yep. 18.7 to 13.4 thousand. So that's a huge decrease for them, obviously, in that. So 1 exahash 30-day profit would be, after the 30% increase, would be 1.375 for those that are at the 3.3 cents. And then if we go all the way here, it would only be 103,000 for those after the 30% increase on the 9.1 cents per kilowatt hour. Okay, like I said, there's a lot of math and this stuff can get you a little confusing here. So daily difference on that would be for going from 2.5 to, let's not look at the daily, let's look at the monthly difference because that makes a little bit more sense here. Monthly difference from going from the 2.5 cents to the 3.3 cents is a negative 163,800. That's still a lot. But then when you go on the high end here, going from 7 cents to 9.1 cents, you're basically losing 457,000. So that's definitely a heck of a lot more loss there. For that reason, well, one of the reasons at least I think is, you know, if you slap a 30% entry tax on all these miners, the ones that have the best economics as far as right now getting electricity at the lowest cost are going to be in a much better position than the ones that are at 7 cents or even 6 cents or something like that. For that reason, I don't know, I'm looking at this maybe a wrong way. I'm looking at it that if they're going to do this, where they're going to have an impact on all the miners, they may, and maybe I don't want to give this out to them, maybe this is the wrong thing to say, but maybe they should make it so it's graduated. If you're at a much lower tax bracket or much lower cost per kilowatt hour, maybe you should pay more than somebody that's at the higher end, as just a suggestion there. But right now, those guys that are at the higher end are already paying a lot, and they're going to get stuck paying even more, while somebody else that's on the lower end is paying a little already, but they're going to pay a lot less as well. Okay, that's kind of what I'm trying to say here. Okay, so here's how things stack up here. So we'll just take a look at if you have, we'll just look at some round numbers. So if somebody has like 5 exahash, which would be like possibly right now, who's getting to that? I think Bitfarms is getting there, but Bitfarms is not mining in US anyways. They have operations in Canada. So a couple of miners that wouldn't be affected by this would be like Hut, Hive, Bitfarms, and there might be another one that's in Canada as well that's mining. They wouldn't be affected by this, but everybody else would pretty much be affected in this. And so we're looking at companies like TeraWolf, Iris, Well, CleanSpark's above 5 exahash right now. I'm trying to think if there's somebody else. Iris Energy is trying to get there as well, I know. Those guys that do want to get to 5 exahash, this is kind of what they're going to be paying more, or their differences as far as how much they're going to be losing a month in revenue potentially because of it. So at the 2.5 cent mark going into the 3.1, was it? 3.3, they're going to be losing about $819,000 per month. So that's going to add up relatively quickly here for them. You're looking at approximately $8 million in lost revenue potentially because of that. But somebody that's at 7 going to 9.1, they're going to end up losing approximately 2.2 million in revenue a month on that. And that's going to equate to about 24 million in taxes paid additionally, right? See where that doesn't really sound fair on it. And then if we go to somebody like at 10 exahash, or let's go to 12.5, which I think is going to be where Riot's going to be at. Right now would be paying, if they're at 2.5 cents going into the 3.3 cents, they would be paying about 2 million in extra taxes compared to somebody that's at the higher end at 7 going to 9.1. They would be paying about 5.7 million. So multiply that times 12, and now you're looking at approximately 60 some million in extra taxes somebody would have to pay at that range, right? And their profits wouldn't be all that great. And then if we look at somebody like at Marathon, who's going to be at the 20, I think they're supposed to be at 22.3 or 23.2, something like that. They're going to be on the low end, if they're at 2.5 cents, which I doubt, about 3.6 million on that one. And then the high end would be 10.2. So now you're looking at about 120 million in taxes just a year, which is just insane, right? So that's kind of what I wanted to point out to you guys. I think most of these guys are somewhere between like the 3.5 cents to the 5.5 cent mark. So even at that point, we're looking at, let's say Marathon is doing a lot of hosting. They could be paying still approximately, if they're at 5.5 cents right now, they're going to be paying possibly 21 to 22,000 or 22 million more a month. That's still a lot there. Oh, that's sorry, 8 million. That's the one right here. 8 million a month. So that's still about, what is it going to be? $96 million a year extra, right? If you're at 5.5 cents right now, somebody's at 5 cents, you're paying 7.3 million a month. That's still a huge amount there. Other guys like Marathon is or Riot is at, what are they at? They're like at 5 point something also, right around that range. So they're going to be paying about 4 million more a month to 4.4, somewhere around there. So you can see how this has a huge impact on them. And then here you can see here the cents per kilowatt hour before the increase, after the 30% increase as well, how that stacks up on it. And then I also did another thing as far as the miners that are mining in the United States. So I took out Hive, Hut 8, Bitfarms, and I think that's all I took out of there for right now. But that accounted for about 61.245 exahash of hash rate currently right now that's operating. If this law went into effect right now, what impact would that have on the miners? So on the low end, you're looking at about 10 million a month, right? If they're all at 2.5 cents, which I doubt they're all going to be at that. I think they're going to be closer probably to 5 cents all in on average. So you're looking at approximately 20 million a month extra revenue in taxes for the government based on that. So that's $240 million added there. If they're on the higher end, somebody that's on the higher end could be, well, now you're looking at about 28. So you're at close to 30 million. So now you're looking at close to, well, probably close to 300 million in revenue just in taxes alone on energy. This is crazy, right? That energy that could be used for other things, could be used for jobs, could be used for growing and everything else instead of the government, which is going to just blow the money anyway. So that's just my 2 cents on it. Okay, so that's the impact on that. And you can see the results here as far as what the difference is from the low end to the high end, how much that increases, just 30%, right? The 30% increase on the lower end is going to have a much lower impact than somebody that's already on the higher end. That's going to have a much higher impact on them. And then you can see here that the increase at kilowatt cost, the higher the cents are, the more that you're actually having to pay in electricity costs. And then the more you're also losing in profit loss on the bottom here, on this chart here. Okay, daily profit as well, you can see here is much higher on the ones that are at 2.5 cents right now. And going down to the 7 cents, you can see how much that has had an impact on them as well, along with after the 30% increase, what that would be, and then where they would be actually at that end, right? So 30% is a lot. I could see them I'm not saying it'd be okay, but I'm saying maybe if it goes up 0.5% or 1% at most, but 30% is just way overkill. And I don't think it's going to pass because it is just not fair to other industries that are also pretty heavily involved in buying up electricity. You still have the smelters that are doing it, aluminum smelters. You still have data centers, regular data centers. You have the regular banking system, right? How many computers do they have? How many, what are those things called? I don't even use those things anymore. ATMs. How many ATMs are there that are drawing power in there? How many do you have these credit card terminals? How many of these computers, servers at all these different branches and banks that you have all over the world, or at least all over the United States alone? I mean, how much are those drawing as well? If you're going to tax somebody 30%, make it fair on everybody. Tax the heck out of everybody, and then it would be fair. But if you're just doing it on one group or one sector of the industry, then I think it's not going to pass. But that's just my 2 thoughts on it. Let me know what you guys think of this. Obviously, like always, there's a lot of numbers here. I try to make it as simplified as possible. Not always the easiest thing to do with all of these things, but at least I hope the graphs help out a little bit and everything else. So if you guys enjoy the graphs, like I said, YouTube members get the printouts of these graphs, and then Patreon members also get all of this stuff. Okay. So that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously, and I'll see you guys in the next one. We'll see what happens tomorrow. But other than that, have a great night.